Right, welcome back. This is AgriTalk right here on KTN Farmers TV. And earlier on, I was speaking to Frederick Achar, who is still here with us and is talking to us about what Agribora is doing to the smallholder farmer. And now, let us look at technology, Frederick. How do you incorporate technology into agribusiness?
Well, as I hinted earlier in our conversation here, that um, it is technology and digitization is driving most of the activities all over in all industries and in all sectors at the moment. And as Agribora, this is our strength. I would say our main strength is in technology. How do we leverage Earth observation data? How do we leverage satellite imagery? How do we leverage digitization in terms of SMS, USSD, internet? How do we leverage all that so that it facilitates small-scale farming, or it facilitates agribusiness? And our driver line is data-driven agribusiness. And I would say that indeed, as you said, technology has become a very central part of agribusiness. And actually, as we speak, we are looking into how can we even go further and remotely assess soil carbon using digital sensors. But just back to your question, technology is important. Reason is we really need to maximize. As I said earlier, the size of the farm is not increasing, but then the demand for the products that come from the farm is always rising, which means we really need to find a way of sweet talking the farm to produce sufficient for the demand. And not just produce sufficient for the demand, but sustainably produce sufficient for the demand. Produce for today and tomorrow. So if we leverage technology, both from the beginning to the end, we call it end-to-end technology, where we embrace technology in preparation for agricultural activities. We embrace technology in production process, and then we embrace technology in the disposal of the output. Then we are sure that we will be able to sustainably produce.
All right. Now, earlier on, you had spoken about farmers affiliating themselves to hubs. First of all, these hubs where they are and the way you are speaking, of course, they are not in can I call them urban areas? They are in the rural areas, and technology in the rural areas is not really very much. People don't have the knowledge that is supposed maybe to be gotten, especially when it comes to technology. First of all, how does a farmer affiliate him or herself to the hub? Because a person might be watching and asking themselves, okay, affiliating myself to a hub, how does it happen? And then now after that, we are going to also jump in now to the technology part.
Thank you so much. Just as I said earlier, farmers could affiliate themselves to the hub based on their group membership. If they are members of a group, and either that group is the group from where the hub is formed, then their information can directly be uploaded by the hub manager to the Agribora platform, where now they can the hub manager can access their contact information and transact with them and communicate with them. But again, as I said, you could, as an individual, dial a number, a USSD code, star 384 star 00 something hash, and then you get to join Agribora. But you said rightfully that technology, as is seen, is not as penetrative in the rural areas as we would think of it in the urban. But that is also part of where our solution comes in strong, because we saw the need and we saw the gap. We have built the platform in such a way that it is feature phone supportive. It does not need internet necessarily, such that someone with a feature phone, the button phone, can easily transact with Agribora by just dialing the code then they can follow a menu like the normal offline M-Pesa menu, and then they transact with Agribora. At the same time, someone who has access to internet can access the Agribora platform. So I think in so doing, we addressed the needs of those who do not have access to internet or smartphones. But the big challenge that still exists, probably, is the ability to even use SMSs.
Yes.
The ability to even own a a feature phone. So these are challenges that exist, and we cannot run away from them. But we are leveraging the hub as a touch point to the farm, so that they can walk in as well and get the services, and get those services and activities they have that taken logged onto the Agribora platform on their behalf. Apart from that, we know very well that sometimes in a household, there could be other non-farming members who have access to devices that facilitate farming. And so what we are actively engage in is sensitizing farmers that this is how you can benefit from Agribora through technology and through the hub. Then most of them sometimes go into these non-farming household members and talk to them. Can you assist me? I want to access Agribora. Can I use your device? Can I get access through your device? We were just taught about Agribora, and we were told to dial this so that we become members.
Yes.
Can we use the household phone or the family phone for this? So this is how we are using it.
All right. You had mentioned where you currently you are in western part of Kenya mostly, and also Uasin Gishu. What are your plans when it comes to expanding into these other areas? Because someone will be coming from the far part of Kenya, which is on the eastern part of Kenya side, and also the southern part of Kenya, and they would also want to join this platform. So how available is it to people who are not within the vicinity where you've spoken about?
Well, good question. The big advantage with technology is that it is not geography limited in most cases, and in our technology, in us embracing technology, we embrace technology right from the input or from the preparation side to the output, where even the aggregation can be done, the product aggregation can be done over the platform. And farmers can definitely place their orders, and then it be logged to their hubs, and the hubs forward it to Agribora, and those transactions are made seamlessly. And this is how we are using digital technology, and also how we are prepared for scaling. So soon you will see a big partnership process that we are taking with the Kenya National Federation of Farmers to bring on board the farmers under their database. Yeah. Yeah.
And also speaking about data, and you've spoken about these big numbers of farmers who we want to incorporate. When you look at data privacy and also data safety when it comes to getting all of this information from the farmers, sometimes it usually becomes a little bit more tricky, especially someone says, okay, these people want to get my information so that they may use it somewhere else. So when it comes to data safety, how is a farmer assured that whatever information they give is going to be secured even moving forward, so that at least they can get access to the market?
Well, true. Data safety and data privacy is one of the key issues in the current technology innovation space, and also among the farmers.
Yes.
Especially given that Kenya is topping the continent thereabout, after South Africa and maybe one or two other countries, but then on digitization and technology. But remember, these things come with risks of fraud, risks of misuse of information, risk of data transfer issues. But we, realizing that, we took a step further to commit ourselves to the government, to the legal framework, and to the policy space by becoming, we are certified, government certified data controllers. We are government certified data processors. So we got those certifications last year after a rigorous validation process. So this is one assurance that we give the farmer, that we are not just handling your data, but we are handling your data in a legally recognized way, in a legally binding way for your gain. Because we look at products like Agricopper, which should be transacted over the platform, and they should be, the data that the farmer data should be processed by a third party, which is a financial institution to offer the credit, which means they need consent. So all these protocols, we put them in place, and so we've been granted the data controller status, the data processor status, so that we can manage and responsibly utilize farmer data. And this is the assurance that we give to them. Yeah.
So they can be assured that their data is safe.
Perfectly. So we took the risk and agreed that we will manage your data responsibly, and we have been certified so that if we misbehave, then you can sue us. Yeah.
In training farmers and dealing with different farmers, what are some of the challenges that you met? Because, you know, a farmer needs to be convinced by seeing. A farmer needs to be convinced by talking to maybe the next person and asking, okay, you tried it, how did it work out? So what are some of the challenges that you've encountered when you are trying to convince farmers to get into this platform?
Well, the main challenges are the issues of data privacy. Everyone is cautious because of histories of fraud. Number two, the other challenge is negative competition. Negative competition comes in when other partners who also are interested in the small-scale farmer
Yes.
either are not properly aligned, for lack of a better word, or they're deliberately and intentionally malicious, such that they end up leaving the farmer with a bad experience. Bad experience in terms of credit, bad experience in terms of quality of supplies, bad experience in fraud, and so on. When farmers see that, farmers do not strongly look at Agribora as Agribora, but they look at Agribora in terms of what value do we draw from Agribora? How can we distinctively single out Agribora among other service providers? Because the market is flooded with innovations. Now, the approach that we took, which helped us to address this challenge, is to, one, start from the farmer pain points. What were they producing that probably they did not have market for? So we started by that. And the market that we were able to get them, is it a market that they see a difference from selling to the usual channels, which usual channels include brokers and middlemen? So when we started with that, then they appreciated that. But remember, Agribora is working end to end, right from preparation for production, which is like right from soil testing. And our strength is in negotiating with input service providers, like the large fertilizer sources companies, large seed companies, and even soil testing companies, so that they give a subsidy or a lower rate for the farmers and Agribora platform. So the next bargain that helped us to overcome the challenge of convincing farmers to join our platform is that there is a margin, there is a bargain, there is a financial gain if they transact on the Agribora platform. I would take the example of soil testing. It is necessary that farmers only apply the fertilizers that the soil require.
Yes.
And we use this analogy. If you eat, or if a child is born, and the child still depends on milk.
Yes.
After milk, after the 6th month, then they are weaned. They're weaned into several foods. But if you just give them mashed potato daily, they will not be healthy.
Yes.
Because they don't get a balanced diet. But you find that in most cases, especially our statistics say that most of our farmers are aging. They're in their late 40s towards 70s. Actually in their 50s towards 70s. And they have been practicing some farming practices since they started, and all over again, such that when the season begins, they just make a call to the son or daughter in town. I want money for, say, for example, DAP. Why, mom? Because I want to plant maize. But the question is, the same soil has been eating DAP for the last 9 years. It could have been overloaded with DAP. So we start from soil testing. But we have negotiated with our capacity as Agribora. The support we give to the hub is that we have negotiated with soil testing companies so that they do close to half the cost of normal soil testing price. A single sample would cost, for example, 2,500 shillings. But with the negotiated Agribora rate, they pay 1,350 per sample. For the 2,500 shillings, you get recommendations for one crop. For the 1,350 negotiated Agribora price, you get recommendations for 3 crops. These are the advantages that we want them to see at the hub so that they onboard themselves or they bring themselves, affiliate themselves to the hub. But what do we want from them? We want from them that they be able to aggregate the demand for soil sample so that many people in an area or many farmers under this hub order for soil sampling.
Yes.
If that is done, then even the supplies that they make for seeds and for fertilizer are based on soil test recommendations. In that way, the soil, I talked with you and said that we need to find a way of pestering the soil to produce as much as would meet the demand. If we give the soil what it really wants, not what we think we have, then the soil will respond by giving us what we want.
And also, in expanding to these new areas, who are you working with on the ground to get closer to the farmers? Because you are entering into an area where you are not sure about what is exactly happening with the farmers there. So, who are you working with there in order for you to get to the farmers?
2 things. One is we have sales agronomists, an agronomist who does sales and marketing also. And so we've stationed them to support the hub managers in the areas where we are. So that is one approach that we use to ensure that we are on the ground. But again, apart from that, just to blend onto the previous point, the other way in which we are convincing farmers or entering into the areas is through establishment of demonstration plots. These demonstration plots are established in areas where our hubs are or where we want to establish hubs, and we ensure that we do them in partnership with the stakeholders that matter to the farm. So we do it with we do the demonstration plot with in partnership with the seed company, in partnership with the fertilizer company, and in partnership with the off-taker. So in one demonstration plot or in a demonstration plot, the farmer can see end to end. The farmer can see that this seed company, this is a seed company, this is a fertilizer company, and this is the person who buys it. So in that way, they are able to summarize the whole concept of why should I produce this product, and then they get into it. That said, some of the farmers, and we know very well that most of the farmers influence each other by speaking to each other.
Yes.
So in the farmer groups, women groups, and social community groups, we leverage that to establish the hubs. In other words, we recruit hub managers from these farmer groups. And when we do that, the main thing that then we bring in is the technology blend, the technology support. So they kinda, in a way, continue with their social bond as a group. But now, one of them is leading them in connecting them to better markets, in connecting them to better sources of input, assured quality source of input. So in so doing, then it is easier to have most farmers on board without a lot of question. And then lastly, the hub manager is a member of the same community. He's not a stranger, he's not another businessman who is just out for profit only, but he's also doing these things knowing that there is nowhere I'm going to. These are my people. Yeah, so it's it has helped us not to work around the trust issue. So they know that this is Frederick, and they trust Frederick. And so if Agribora is working with Frederick, then fine. Why shouldn't we trust Agribora when we know that this is Frederick's home? He's not going anywhere. Yeah.
All right, and briefly, as we wrap up, where do we see Agribora moving into in the next maybe 1 year or in the next months? And are we looking at you even going global, because you're really helping farmers to try to get to the market and try to get their produce there, and also training them on how to do this. So just briefly explain to us about this, and also even as we finish.
Oh, thank you so much. One thing I didn't mention when we started is that Agribora is Kenyan German. And Agribora started small as with a few counties in Western. But then we are looking at, because as Agribora, we, being a digital, our strength is in digital services or technology services. So we offer these technology services and support in terms of consultancies to various stakeholders in the agriculture sector. And these include big players like AGRA, Alliance for Green Revolution in Africa, or the AMEA, the Consortium for Market Improvement, and many others. And so we get to have an advantage of seeing Africa from the top. And that has helped us to identify that small-scale farmers all over the continent face nearly the same challenges, such that the moment we are able to sufficiently or stably provide these solutions at scalable levels in Kenya, then we can definitely lift them and scale them to Uganda, to Tanzania, to Zimbabwe, to Morocco, and so on. And so we are looking at ourselves as Agribora. In terms of scaling, we're looking at ourselves as bringing digital solutions. Actually, we are in the process of supporting scaling of other partner activities in Nigeria. And so we are certain that in the next, say, 1 year, we should be able to have penetrated Kenya fully, and also launched into other countries. With the support, we are in partnership with the World Bank, we're in partnership with the counties, we're in partnership with the World Food Program. And just to mention that Agribora is not developing or is not improving or establishing the agri-hubs to own the agri-hubs. Because the target is the small-scale farmer. And there are many stakeholders who want to reach the small-scale farmer. When Agribora succeeds in establishing stable, reliable, and visible agri-hubs, then these agri-hubs should be launch pads for other stakeholders who are interested in bringing sufficient solutions to the small-scale farmer to work with. So a World Food Program will just come in and say, okay, this is Agribora hub, or this is an agri-hub. Then we want to run a project with the small-scale farmers dealing with poultry value chain. Can you add it to the platform? From the technology side, we just add a user menu on the platform and say poultry. Then they can work with it. At the same time, the government is struggling with a formal way, and this is not, with a formal, structured, waterproof way of, for example, distributing subsidy fertilizers. Why should it? Once these agri-hubs are well stabilized, then the government can just print out list of farmers and say, based on how you've been farming, you are qualified for this subsidy or not, without necessarily having someone register for 17 tons of subsidy when they are mobile farmers from Nairobi. So once these agri-hubs are properly established, and this is our vision, that the agri-hubs will be properly established rural farmer-facing agri-businesses, which can act as a launchpad for every other stakeholder whose target is the benefit of the small-scale farmer.
Right, thank you so much for joining us. All right, we've come to the end of AgriTalk today, and today we've learned that the future of agribusiness is technology and digitization. Remember that. My name is Calvin Yakundi. Let's meet right here on AgriTalk next time on KTN Farmers TV.